Hello YouTubies, now just let me slurp this white wine, alright? Absolutely delicious. Now, I'm seeing a lot of delusional activity on YouTube at the moment. I mean, there are some people out there who are backstabbers. Now, I think many of you who are like that know who you are. There seems to be some huffle-buffle in the hooving community, and I'm looking around seeing what's caused it, and I'm starting to identify little bits of information where it doesn't actually kind of make sense. For one thing, in one of the hooving podcast between this guy on another channel, I'm not really going to say who it was, there was somebody who said that me drinking a glass of white wine, yeah, is somehow connected to the trolling in another community that I have absolutely no idea about. So for some reason me drinking a white wine is connected to something else somewhere else. It's not a gimmick for my videos because I want to, you know, celebrate making a porn review or something, which some people without a sense of humor call trolling. That's not fucking trolling. Trolling is when you actually go after somebody specifically, when you personally attack another person. It's not when you take the piss online with a joke, with a bit of comedian flair. But people don't understand this. They automatically take things from other people as fact. Now, there's one particular individual, and no names will be mentioned because, yeah, I know what these people are like. When you name their names, they actually start complaining to other people, and then they ask people, oh, look how bad this video is. Now, I'm not going to do a big smear campaign myself. I'm just sticking up for myself in this video because from what I'm seeing, there are smear campaigns going on the internet, and people must have seen one of my videos before, and it must have inspired them when I was talking about smear campaigns and backstabbers, yeah? Because they're that childish. That's a typical type of mindset you get from people with a chip on their shoulder or have delusionals, personality types. So I had a look at this one particular guy on YouTube, and it's somebody I knew in the past, and because he was actually posting irrelevant things on a particular Facebook campaign site, I think it was Say No to the BBC cutting down Doctor Who, one of the admins decided that that was going against the rules of the site, which it was. He politely asked the guy not to do it again, and the person who was in charge of the site actually told me not to post anything irrelevant as well. But this particular individual then decided that he wanted a big argument with him, and then just ran off from the community altogether, disappeared, never to talk to anybody again. Alright, that's setting the record straight there. And afterwards, 2 years later, believe it or not, he comes back on YouTube saying about people he doesn't like. And I wasn't actually sure exactly what to think of it at first, because from what I can see, there were some compliments. He wasn't exactly going after 100%, but this individual was just lapping up anything that was coming his way from anybody who was making little sly remarks about people behind their backs, you know, talking behind people's backs while, you know, being smiley faces to them in front of the, you know, when they're speaking to them on Facebook or YouTube. This guy was just believing what these people were saying. One individual thought that me making a Doctor Who Mafia website, it wasn't actually a website, it was a Facebook page, was somehow connected to Stephen Moffat leaving Twitter. And he also said that because the mafia is a bad thing in reality, or people getting killed and all that, they don't see the joke of it, by the way. It must be you know, taken down. And then I had people writing to me some really nasty messages who were related to that person, saying even the people don't like you on their Facebook page. Fucking disgusting. After the fact that I allowed that person to actually run a website with me, he decides to go off on his own tangent and then attack other people behind their backs, as usual. And the other people, like that particular individual who made a video later, lapped it up. he said, oh yeah, it makes sense, this guy's actually got knives on his walls and guns, but ignore that. That's not negative at all. How many kids are being killed by guns? How many kids are being killed by knives? I could say the same thing. It's unrelated, but some people would actually lap it up as being truthful. So some of these people are easily led in the community, and it is a shame. Now, there is one particular guy out there on YouTube, and he has a big chip on his shoulder, and I'm not sure what it is, whether he's been drinking too much, which he has admitted in the past that he's been drinking, and I will not name any names, and I will not direct anybody to this individual. Alright, so just saying, I'm not going to do a smear campaign myself. I'm just saying what the experiences I am dealing with on YouTube at the moment. And this guy who's still living with his mum after 36 years, decides to go on the higher moral ground. I mean, to be honest with you, somebody who's staying around with their mother for 36 years has actually been a drain on that family. But that's another thing. That's another matter. No, people don't need to go into a smear campaign about that too. He was writing on these particular videos, and he said that my videos have no credit whatsoever, simply because, as he claims, that I've said I'm a troll. No, I haven't. I've never claimed to be a troll. In fact, I am not a troll, because trolls pick on vulnerabilities in other people. That's what they do. You need a clear definition of what a troll is. Just because some of you guys lack a sort of irony part of your personality, you just don't get it. Yeah, so you think that me making a porn review with lesbians with a bit of a quagmire involved is somehow trolling other people. It's not. I mean, even the people from the Monty Python era would have been called trolls by your standards on YouTube. And I was listening to this guy speaking to other people on YouTube in a podcast, and they were so trivial. The claims were trivial as fuck. And the people, go, oh yeah, that's serious. They were lapping it up. They were actually convincing themselves within these podcasts that whatever it was about, let's say, Matrix Law 212, he must be a really bad guy, or I am somehow connected to or being controlled by this individual. No, I've not. In fact, I've not really spoken to Matrix outside of Facebook for a long time. I have spoken to him on Facebook, by the way, but not on YouTube. And there's a reason for that. I've just not had the time. But I was actually kind of shocked by the fact that people were lapping this up, and they were convincing themselves of a lot of small things, one after another, that somehow this is all connected. So I am somehow not worthy of an opinion just because I make a few jokes on YouTube. People actually believe all this crap. And this guy has no credibility when you think about it, because he doesn't lead by example. He's doing other things in his life like nothing, and then he's making these wild allegations up. And I noticed he was speaking to some individuals on YouTube, and people were buying it. I mean, you tell me, how is it so serious of me drinking a big glass of white wine while making parodies on YouTube? How is that connected to your little feuds? Somebody tell me. Alright, you got nothing there. And the people are like, yeah, I get what you mean. Oh yeah, and this and this and this. And then they were convincing themselves over and over and over again within the podcast that it was very serious, and people were just lapping it up. I've seen all the videos now. Alright, I've seen it. And what I see is there are some very delusional people out there on YouTube. And it's not the people, I'm not talking about the people who have actually bought into it. I'm talking about one or two of you, alright, who are actually stirring up this campaign. One of them thinks he's being clever by claiming that me drinking a bottle of white wine or something is trolling. And the other one is probably just doing it for a laugh. But I'm surprised that the other people out there are lapping it up as being really nothing more than trivial. I mean, I understand that there are certain aspects of people's podcasts. For instance, I would have to agree with one little problem. that certain people need to give people more time to speak, rather than speaking the whole thing themselves within a podcast. Maybe that's a negative, yes, that's true, but that doesn't make somebody the devil. Yeah, and just because you convince yourself over and over again with little bits of irrelevant information, like drinking a bottle of white wine or something in a video that's completely unconnected, but you're talking about a load of those little things throughout the videos, and then suddenly you convince all yourselves that this guy must be the devil in disguise. I mean, the conspiracy theories going on is absolutely fucking hilarious. I have to say something about it, because people have been sending me the links. I've asked people to send me the links, and I respect these individuals, but you know, I think they listen to some of these things, and they automatically think that certain things are being truthful. It's not necessarily truthful anyway, and even if it was truthful, it's so trivial that it's being warped up as being so severe that I don't understand why people are actually buying into this sort of stuff. I think people just like the drama. Now, I understand that there might be certain things going on behind the scenes. Maybe later on people are being hurt by other things. But the podcast themselves, from certain individuals, you know who you are, make no sense to me. I am not getting this. Making a 3-hour podcast about somebody on YouTube and then convincing yourselves that there is a really serious thing wrong with them, and then when I'm listening to each point of view, you could be ripped apart by anybody by showing you just how trivial some of your arguments actually are. And in fact, the whole thing is trivial. The whole thing is based on somebody's video. I think disappearing from the website simply because somebody did a copyright claim on that particular video, but was asked previously if they could actually not put that video up in the first place. I have my feelings about that. I think some people do make mistakes, but it does not warrant a 3-hour barrage of insults and false allegations, and also warping up things that are trivial video. It certainly doesn't warrant anything of the kind, and I'm surprised that people have actually been falling into it. In fact, there's certain individuals on YouTube, just because they heard that I was drinking a bottle of white wine before my video, seem to think I was involved in there, and they thought, oh, I don't want to be friends with him anymore either. Yeah, nutcases, muppets. You really got to learn how to realise when you are being manipulated. And the funny thing is that the tragedy of all this is that you're being manipulated by somebody who might not actually be right in the head in the first place. Let's be honest. I mean, it's somebody who's been living with their mother for years and years, who must be an absolute drain on some people's families, and then it comes on YouTube and decides to troll people and discredit people like Matrix Law 212, and you know, in the end they'll backstab you too. And that's exactly what's going to happen. And just because you buy into the BS, I'm talking to the other people out there on YouTube, doesn't mean that the same won't happen to you later on. There are people out there who don't have a life, so to speak, so they have to make one by trolling other people. And me making a porn review or something on YouTube is not trolling. Me having a laugh about something on YouTube or being a little bit hyper in a video is not trolling. It just isn't. A troll goes after individuals purposely and maliciously. He does not go on YouTube and make a little joke about lesbians making out. That's a different thing altogether. And you know, I will say about this about a lot of you. A lot of you have got a great respect for it, alright? Don't take this video as if I'm being nasty about you guys. There's just one or two of you who I think have got a chip on your shoulder, and you are, you know, you're warping your sense of delusions on the rest of the community, and the rest of the community, for whatever reason, is buying into it. That's my problem. That's why I had to make this video. I want to stick up for some of my friends out there on YouTube, because I see when there is bullshit in the air, and there's certainly bullshit in the air at the moment. Alright, thank you for watching. Goodbye for now. See you.